Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's start off with Willow and Drew. And Jacinta. Which, by the way, that's actually a very lovely name. But so Willow walks in, sees a woman's shoe. She's Drew just passed out, and Jacinta just walks on in. She has some words to say, and then she leaves. Willow slams the door to wake Drew up, because he is just past the F out. And he's like, Willow? And the first thing that she says is, I can't believe you did this to me. And then she runs off in tears. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure Michael said the same thing about you. And I'm pretty sure when the first time it happened, because it just kept happening. The kiss alone, he just walked off. And I'm pretty sure you wanted to sit there and take some time to talk to him about it. And yet you didn't give him that opportunity. You just ran off and started crying to mommy. And I'm also just like, why should anybody in their right mind feel bad for you for Drew cheating on you when you cheated on your husband? Hell, you're still technically married to this man as far as I can tell. now you're in your feelings. Like, I mean, we know that that's not what happened, but this is what you want to sit there and call karma. So Lulu comes to Alexis, and Alexis is like, I gotta go. I gotta sit there and do damage control. I gotta sit there and see how Scout is doing. They talk for a little bit. Lulu feels bad, and Alexis is like, nah, it's cool. You're a journalist. It is what it is, but I gotta sit there and make sure Scout's okay. So she goes to Drew's place. Now, granted, even before then, she was already sitting there blaming him, not even knowing what the hell was going on, but already just going there, and as far as she's concerned, he's guilty. She walks in, she's like, I'm taking Scout. And I'm like, whoa, okay. She pretty much is like, this is all your fault, and you did this, and I don't want this to affect Scout. And she just like really hammering in on him in a sense. And the reason why this kind of bothers me a little bit, because on one hand, I understand where she's coming from. She wants to protect Scout from the press and whatever she may hear. And I get that. On the other hand, I can't sit there but help think that you've been chomping at the bits way before this. The minute that Sam died, almost in a sense, when you was like, well, Scout should live with me. Why? Now, at the time, she claimed, well, I'm going to have Danny there, and Danny there, and they can sit there and live together. And I wasn't on board with that. I'm like, no, that's his child. He gets to sit there and stay with. She gets to sit there and stay with him. But at this time, he's like, what? Listen, fine. Take her, do what you got to do. And then she just continues to hammer in and just be incredibly annoying about it. But now before Willow gets to see Nina and Porsche are pretty much celebrating, right? And Porsche's like, oh yeah, I sat there and I laughed and I watched it several times, and I'm just like, Porsche, I don't think that you get it. And it's surprising that you don't get this situation. You are celebrating with this woman, but at the end of the day, she is the only one that's really benefiting. Okay? She got the ketamine from you. She's going to get Drew out of Willow's life. Do you think that he's just going to forget about the information that he has? Like, part of me is just like, you can't be this clueless. You simply can't. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that Nina used Porsche, but there's only one person that's going to benefit from this whole thing, and she's relevant. She is relishing her win so much that she's blinded to the fact that at any point in time, he can crash out and decide to just end her, in a sense. But okay, boom. Now, of course, they told Jacinta to leave town, and she's going to Sydney and start a new life, and da 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 da. Willow gets over there, she's crying, she's in tears, boo hoo, no one cares. There's a point where she's like, I can't believe that he did this. And, talking about the drinking and everything like that, and now she's convinced. She's like, maybe that's how he was the entire time. And you see in the previews, now she's blaming him to say, I could lose my kids because of you. I was like, well, you can lose your kids because of you. Let's not sit there and put this all on Drew. Yeah, he's not helping the situation, but you did sit there and choose to sleep with him and be with him. So we're not going to make him the scapegoat just because you're in your feelings. This is both of y'all problems. At the end of the day, you're the only one that's going to be affected by it. But, the actions have consequences, right? I don't know how she's going to lose her kids. And part of me, so you have Laura and Curtis, laughing it up, celebrating, and just really laughing at Drew's L. But I'm going to ask a question. They're practically talking about how Drew tarnished his career. It's irreparable or irredeemable, or whatever, right? Did his career kind of at some point already went downhill when you start to think about it? Because to the public, I'm assuming they know, they have to know at this point that, maybe they don't, I'm not too sure, but didn't Drew already kind of start off in a sense being somewhat of a scumbag? Like, don't people already know about his affair with Willow? Any tabloid, any journalist could sit there and see, especially Valentine's Day, when he's already sitting there, not just going out with a married woman, but his nephew's wife, right? So in the eyes of the public, he can already be seen as a scumbag. So part of me is just like, why is this any different? Oh my God! It's showing that he cheated. And what does that even sit there and say? He cheated on Drew with some escort. Okay, but like he was already with Willow, who was already married to his nephew. It's just like, how much worse could it actually get? So I don't really understand. Like when you sit there and think about it, it's like, what did he really do? He got drunk. He messed around with some pretty woman, and what? Like, and what else? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And granted, yes, I understand that as a congressman, you're supposed to act accordingly and be proper and everything like that. Um, but part of me is just like, what? I don't know. I guess it's like the bar was already so low. It's like, does it really make that much of a difference? Now, Lulu comes to sit there and see Laura, and after they talk about the Drew thing, because this is what the talk of the town is, she wants to interview Laura and about her adoption story and stuff like, which I didn't know about. I didn't know that she actually got switched at birth, but she does sit there and say that she did benefit from learning about her bio mom. Now, all this is, and granted, I think Laura's like, okay, what is the real reason why you're doing this for? The real reason why she's doing it for is because she wants to tell Dante, and she feels that she has enough people sit there and tell her that them finding out about their birth parents benefited their lives, then it would justify it and make it easier for her to sit there and tell Dante the truth. But Laura sat there and said, it's a case by case thing. Yeah, I benefit from this, but that's not to sit there and say everybody else will. I think it just needs to be good enough for her to sit there and clear her conscience. I think that's what it really comes down to. So, while not Porsche, while Trina comes to sit there and see Kai, and they're talking and everything like that, one of the things that Kai says is, if you're going to be part, do you want to be part of the documentary? And if so, the guy may sit there and refer to you as my girlfriend. You're okay with it. And she's more than okay with it. They kiss and everything like that. And it just makes me think, right? But I read the comments and I don't always have time to reply back, but when I do, I read the comments and stuff. And I've been in other people's chats and I've my own chats and stuff like that, my live streams. And there's so many people that's there saying that, when Spencer comes back and when Spencer gets recast and when. People are just either assuming or they're hoping, they're wishing upon a star. And it's just one of those things where it's like, when is he coming back? Is Spencer really coming back? Because the character has been going for like, what, is it like a year, maybe 2 years now? I feel like there's two camps when it comes to us Trina. And we're just going to be honest about this for a minute. There's the Sabrina fans. And then there's the fans that want Trina with Black Man. Okay? Something that's always been talked about for a while. Even just having her own, like more black friends or whatever. But specifically the Black Man part. And it's, I don't know. I see the show as fun. It never really gets too deep for me, but all the time I always sit there and hear the same thing. Oh, Spencer's coming back. Spencer's coming back. Okay, I'm sure. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't really see that happening. Um, I just don't see it. Unless this didn't say it does happen by some wish upon a star, there's going to be an 8 out of 10 chances that it's going to not be to people's liking, and that's going to be a whole different clusterfuck. So, um, now Jack is there watching over Sunny. He wakes up. Sunny thanks Jack for all his help and everything that he done, cleaning up the body and stuff. While Carly debriefs Jason and everything, and then Jason. Well, long story short, Sunny tells Carly to go home to be with Donna, and she doesn't really fight him because, well, don't want to stress him out. Don't want to argue. So Carly leaves, goes back to Port Charles with Jack. But before that happened, Jack does talk to Jason and says that the girl that came after Sunny is another assassin. You know, um, like Stilinski. So this person is gunning after Sunny hard, right? And of course, Sunny talks to Jason about, his dream with Mike and getting out of the business. And, everyone has their own little theories. I don't necessarily do theories or whatever, but just for shits and giggles, which I don't think this is going to happen, but I think that Sunny may want to fake his death. I mean, it's no secret that the character of Sunny, well, Maurice Bernard, has been hinting and hinting and hinting at him retiring, and now the character isn't that they're talking about getting out of the mouth. Just one of the many ways. Of course, Portia and Curtis are talking about Drew because, it's always fun to sit there and live in other people's heads rent free. The the cameraman, the guy named Josh, um, interviews Porsche, and really asks some tough questions and stuff like that. Like, do you think the surgery is going to go well? I heard about the other candidates. What do you think about that? I thought she was actually going to sit there and either kind of snap or be like, "Hey, listen, there's no more questions" or whatever. Also, Felicia was there because they don't really have much for her to do anymore. Let's seriously. I almost forgot to sit there and mention her at this point. So yeah. Um. Let's see what else want to happen. I think that's about it. The sad thing is that this may sit there and be a good win, a good victory for Nina now, right? But now she just piled on to the whole thing. And I don't know what's going to wind up happening because, let's be honest, she may be smiling and joking and everything now. And by the way, Drew came to the door knocking and banging like a nut job. But the thing is, and I saw the previews, long story short, first, Willow's going to be pissed off at the fact that she sat with Drew and didn't say anything to her. Then she's going to be pissed off when she finds out what Nina wound up doing. So all this, I'm just like, Nina, seriously, and enjoy that high, enjoy that ride right now, because when your castle crashes around you, it's going to be, really is. I feel like that's about it for the most part. I personally can. Hold on. I always feel like I'm missing so much. No, I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else. Now, I might have missed some stuff here or there, but that is the general gist of the episode. Now, we'll be sitting there talking about this more later on tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and we'll talk about all five of the shows. I'm still going to talk about Beyond the Gates, even though it wasn't on today, and who knows if it's going to be on tomorrow or the next day. But the point is, I'll be talking about all the shows. So, yeah, I'll see you in the next video or next live stream.